I know you guys only care about the skits, and that's okay. I get that. But I script the scripts for a long time during the day, and then I film them for hours during the day, and editing takes hours too. And then I'm really just always thinking about them because I love it. I really do love it. But I don't talk to my wife about the skits at all. I don't talk to anyone about the skits. And it's literally my life. It's something that consumes me 24/7. And it's hard to not talk about something you love because you have no one to talk to about it, you know. It's work, you know. So this video is just me talking about some things about the skits that, you know, I've made some notes about that were on my mind while I was filming, and I had no one to talk to about them. And since you guys are fans, for the fans that are into that type of stuff, you can continue watching. For the fans that aren't into it, this probably isn't the video for you. If I like how this video goes and I feel good about it and it doesn't make me feel uncomfortable, I'll film more of them. If you guys liked it, I'll film more. But yeah, I created notes just while I was filming during the week of just things I wish I could talk about to someone. The first one that I wrote down is, look, I look at all my characters as like my employees. I know you guys think it's weird. It's very weird. It's very weird. It's like the story, some things are long term, but some things just happen. And it's very hard to explain. You know, it's just unfolding as I write. And I don't even know what's gonna happen half the time. I know that sounds crazy, but that's the truth. What I'm getting at is Chelsea. Chelsea was a character that she wasn't really supposed to be like a main character, but she became one. And I guess I'm proud of her. I know she's fake, but it's just cool when something like that, she just organically stuck around. I'm proud that a character worked for so long, if that makes sense. I don't know if you guys pick up on this, if any of you are wrestling fans, but I get a lot of inspiration from being a wrestling fan. And a lot of the characters, there are some characters who are just always bad. And there are some characters who are always good. Miranda, good, whatever you want to call it, good. Someone who doesn't want to hurt anyone. I guess you could classify it's good. But, and then, like Mill would be one of the characters who were kind of like always bad. But just like with wrestling, sometimes that changes, right? And I don't know if any of you have picked up on that, but that's something that happens. I'm pointing that out right now, if that makes sense. I think Mill has always been bad, but there were times where she turned good, if that makes sense. Joey is one of them too. I think there were times where he was a good guy. He genuinely was out to help Miranda in his own weird way. But then he flipped, and lately he's just a villain. I think Brian almost flipped once. I think he turned to a bad guy almost once. Some people think he is a bad guy. And for me, that's always left up to interpretation. I don't, I know I say like good guy, bad guy. Sometimes those lines are clear, but sometimes they're not. Sometimes they're just the character working through something, how they would work through it. Does that make sense? I was never the type of person to create a story where things have to be told to the audience. I always want the audience to make up their own mind. Because I don't want to insult anyone's intelligence. I think everyone is capable of forming their own conclusion about a character. I never go like, this will piss them off, or this will make them like whatever. No, it's more like, what would, Brian is this person, how would he deal with this or that? You know, in a weird way, the characters are real to me, you know. How would they act under these circumstances, this and that? So, it's so weird to say, but the story unfolds with me too, if that makes sense. There are days where I finish filming and I'm just like, I hate Joey. I hate him. Or I really liked Brian today. Or I really relate to Miranda today. And it's not something I did on purpose, it's just what happens. I think, as weird as it is, I'm a fan too. Okay, next one is creating longer videos. Some of you may have noticed that the videos got longer. For those on TikTok and Instagram, my videos have always been 1 to 3 minutes long. That's not changing. But I have created longer videos and they're on YouTube. So the way I see it is, if you liked what you saw on TikTok and Instagram, like if that was a good video for you and you wanted to see more, it's on YouTube. If you didn't like the video, then you didn't just have to sit through the 12-minute version. Do you know what I mean? And I think there's a lot of fans that just want the 3 minutes. And it's 3 videos a day. You know what I mean? I think I'm kind of doing people a favor on TikTok and Instagram because it's still a platform where you're scrolling like this. Whereas with YouTube, you get to decide if you want to watch a 12-minute video or not. Does that make sense? There's some fans that watch the 3-minute videos 3 times a day, and that's good for them. Because they use TikTok in a way that they're just doing something during the day and it's on in the background or something. But there's also the fans that are like, I wish that was longer. Well, it's on YouTube, but I'm not going to force people to watch the longer stuff. Does that make sense? Sorry that I keep saying does that make sense. Where does Melissa stand? That's something I wanted to touch on. She's a character that I hated at times. I'm proud of her for what she did in the series. Again, like, I look at them as my employees. Like, I'm amazed at like what they're able to do. But I think something I agree on with the fans is that characters need to be held accountable. And she's in prison, and it feels right. I don't think she carried the show on her back for a long time, and I think that there's no better place for her right now than in prison. And I love the direction that Brian and Miranda are going, and I love that they're able to tell a story without evil conflict sometimes, you know. I love evil conflict, but I love that they have a different type of conflict going on a lot of the times. And will Melissa come back? I don't know. Genuinely, I don't know. And I love that I don't know. Brian's fan base was something I wanted to talk about. Brian is, I grew up watching CW, the shows on CW. Supernatural, my favorite show. Smallville. All those really corny shows. And the characters, the men, are so over the top in how like cheesy they are sometimes, where they always talk like this. So that was my intent. I wanted him to just be like one of those, you know, conflicted CW characters that are cringe. But I love that there are people who don't trust him, there are people that love him, and that he has a very, conflicted audience, I guess. And I like that. I like that it's not, I like that it's blurred, I guess. Which was, again, not something I intended, I guess. It's just I liked those characters because of how weird and different and admirable at times they were. You get what I'm saying. If you've watched the CW, you know what I mean. I have the books listed here. The books, the book that I wrote that you guys bought. I haven't promoted it because I promoted it. It's still there for sale. But I think let's move on to the next book, I guess. Next book, it's coming along. I'm happy with it. I love it. It's I don't know when it'll be done, but I'm working on that. I thought it would be fun to talk about what video did the best in the last 7 days, just because I feel like, again, I look at the characters like employees, like actors, and it's cool to see which ones thrive to the top, I guess. So the top one in the last 7 days was number 11 of season 4, which was titled "He Didn't Know She Could Do That." That was the one with Joey and Chelsea, and it was a little risque. I'm sure it did good numbers because of the subject matter, but to just talk about that, I guess, it just shows what a scumbag Joey is, pretty much. And I personally hope Chelsea gets out of that relationship, as most fans, I guess, do. Again, I view it as like a fan. I don't know where the story is always going, but I kind of create it as a fan too, if that makes sense. Just goes to show where Joey's priorities are and just what a scumbag he is. Because unfortunately, there are guys like that. And a lot of Joey's character is shining a light on those guys and showing people that look at the comments for Joey. You know what I mean? When you guys comment on Joey, that's showing those guys that, like, this is a good behavior if you're acting like this. Look at how many people are pissed off at him. That's what I'm always proud of with Joey, is that, like, he's not, if you're dating one of those guys like him, or you are one, you see how people think about that. What happened to the brother? I saw a few comments asking about what happened to Joey's chef brother. For 2 days, I've been trying to remember his name. I don't remember his name. Here's what I'll say about him. I liked him. He was really fun. He was fun to perform as, and I loved that he was just so stupidly innocent, but also, like, he had a career and stuff. I loved how loving he was, and like blinded by love, which was also his fault, I guess. So I think he was entertaining, and there was a lot to do with him, but Melissa went to jail. And just like with wrestling, when you have a roster of good characters, sometimes you just don't have anything for them. Maybe you guys do. I don't personally. That's the thing that I like, is that for like the long-term fans, like, he still exists. Just like Charlie, redheaded Charlie, Gabby's boyfriend, still exists. And those seeds are planted for something later. You know what I mean? So the chef can always come back. Just right now, I like the story that's going on with Miranda and Brian and what's going on there. And it's always about what creatively fulfills me. Again, I love the chef, but, last thing I wanted to touch upon was, speaking of the chef, he was always in the chef outfit. It was a little over the top, but I thought it was funny. There's oftentimes so much heaviness to the show and such seriousness that sometimes I just like absurdity, and it sometimes should be funny and ridiculous. On the flip side of that, I do think outfits do play a huge part in the characters, just like with wrestling. You know, wrestling characters have hateable outfits sometimes. I can't think of any off the top of my head. But like Joey's construction outfit, it was supposed to make you hate him. Because there's something about a construction outfit that it's either you admire the guy or he's one of those construction workers that are complete jerks. You know what I mean? And I think Joey was that. I saw that and I was like, he has to be wearing this like a lot, you know, to help with his douchebaggery, if you will. Because that's who he is. Again, I frame it like I try to make him a dick, but at the same time, like, in my head, he's not a dick in his own mind, you know? And that's how that character is created. He truly believes what he's doing is right. So, I don't know, it's a weird thing to explain. I just know that with Joey, a lot of people are surprised like how well I act in that character, how I come up with those things, but it's not hard. It's not. We all know Joey. We've all met a guy like him. And I'm just really good at impersonations. I'm really good at imitating people and picking things up, especially when I don't like people. When I don't like someone, I guess naturally I can make fun of them in my head. And I've known that guy, Joey, all my life through like people I've cared about, you know, women that put up with behaviors that were unacceptable, and I just wished they would break free. And that's why I'm happy that Miranda has, and she's in Serafina Town, and like, you know, she's no longer called the baby mama because she broke free. She was the baby mama because that's how Joey referred to her. If anyone picked up on that. I know a lot of people thought like, oh, that's derogatory. No, she's a baby mama because this is how this man refers to her. And she was chained up in that relationship. And I don't know if you've noticed, but ever since she got to Serafina Town, and in this season, she's labeled as Miranda in the intros because she finally broke free. I hate having to explain crap like that because, again, I always assume people pick up on things like that, you know what I mean? But yeah, it's not hard to come up with Joey's shenanigans because, you know, when my mother was in the picture when I was a kid, she dated this man who, very toxic. And she was like a Third Eye Blind fan, big Third Eye Blind fan. She had like posters and stuff. And I just remember as a kid, before he would come over, she would need to hide the posters because she was afraid of how he would react. So whenever I need motivation for Joey or whatever, I just think about like, how would that guy deal with something like that? How would that guy deal with his ex-wife posting a pregnancy announcement? It's not hard to imagine. That was my notes for the week. How did I feel about this video? It was cathartic. I liked it. I think it went way too long, but it really felt good to finally talk about stuff. And I know 75% of you will love what I just said, and you're fans, and then the rest will spin it somehow. But yeah, I think I'll make I'm not going to commit to making these like every week, but when I have something I want to talk about, I'll write it down and I'll make a video about it. Because for the fans that are my real fans who, you know, just want to be supportive, I don't feel like I talk to you enough because I'm constantly just the next script, the next video, edit, and I never have time to just be me. But yeah, that's all I had to say for this video.